Hey, it's Paul O Mahony here, and today I'm going to talk about the question that many of us have on a day-to-day basis, which is just, why don't I have enough money? I never seem to have enough money, and how do you get yourself out of that rut? Okay, so before we get started, if this topic is something that you want to delve into in a lot more detail, feel free to go to rethinklibrary.com, and we have free trainings in there for you where you can get into this topic in a lot more detail. So let's talk about this. I never have enough money. Okay, so that's the intro. I like hearing that, because just in listening to the terminology there, I never have enough money. So it truly doesn't really matter how much they have, it's never enough. Okay? Why do you think that lottery winners, 85% of them are, what did I say, approximately 80% plus of all lottery winners actually lose their money and go back to the amount of money they had to begin with, right? They still didn't have enough money, right? Even though their dreams and hopes around money had come in, but what was their plan around money once they won their lottery? Well, since they discussed the lottery as a 4-year-old or as a 5-year-old, the plan was what? You're going to buy big toys, lots of sweets. Then you grew up, then you're going to buy bigger toys, more expensive sweets. Your plan was to spend the money. And when you win the lottery, people execute that plan to perfection. They go and do exactly what they always said they would. They go and spend that money in line with whatever their values are. So if families are highest value, they'll buy houses for their kids, buy cars for their kids, pay off the mortgages for their children, or bring all the family off away on a holiday. If social is their highest value, they're going to spend it on their friends. And this is just inevitable. That's what happens when you don't have I suppose more education specifically on this topic. You're always going to run out of that money. So it's not the amount that's coming in that's the main issue, which is what most people think it is. It's the drainage of what's going out and understanding where that money is being spent and going on a day-to-day basis. So there's a couple of things I can help you with here right away. And the first is understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. And the second thing I want to talk about is the difference between a need and a want. So let's start with the assets and liabilities one. Now, this is one when it was covered in school and business class where I just kind of dozed off. It just never was something that I was interested in. Maybe it was just how it was taught. But as an adult and as an educator in the field of finance, this is absolutely critical that you understand these two pillars. And just to simplify it, an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. Okay, anything that puts money into your pocket. Liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Right? Anything that takes money out of your pocket. And simply put, the reason why you never have any money is because the money that you're spending is being spent, which gives you a little clue. It's an expense, which means it's a liability. You're spending the money on something that's taking money out of your pocket. Right, let's just stop right now. Let's just think about, so far today, let's look at the trail of money out of your wallet, your purse, or your pocket. Right, where has the money been going? Right, teas, coffees, food, possibly clothes, possibly fuel for your car, possibly paid back credit card bills, possibly your Wi-Fi connection, possibly your phone bill might have been paid today. Okay, look at all of these individual things. What do they have in common? You have to spend that money again. Right? You're going to have to re-spend it again. You're going to still have to buy more coffees tomorrow, more clothes, more fuel for the car, more shoes, whatever it is you've been spending your money on. You're going to have to repeat the process. You're going to look at whatever it is, whether it's clothing or shoes, where you say, right, in a few months you'll go, I don't like these anymore, I want something new. You need to replace it again. You need to pay for it again. So the vast majority of the money you're spending, 98, 99% plus for most people, needs to be spent again. Right? But we don't cop on to the fact that if we continue to do the same thing day in, day out, we're going to continue to get the same results, which Einstein refers to as insanity, continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But that's what we do because our friends and family and the people around us have exactly the same spending habits, so we feel it's normal. But here's the problem. Most of them are not in a position where they're financially independent. Most of them are struggling from a cash perspective. They're certainly, if you look at the disparity of wealth on the planet, where we've got 35 million millionaires, that means 99.6% of the planet, 99.6% of the people you know are not millionaires, so they haven't mastered the art of money. So modeling people who have money as a scarce commodity in their lives is exactly the opposite of what we need to be doing. We need to be modeling the people who have plenty of money in their lives, they're affluent, they're abundant, and they do things differently. Rather than spending most of their money on liabilities, which are things that take money out of your pocket, they put the money into assets, which are things that put money into your pocket. So what would be examples of that? Well, a primary example for people would be a house, right? Buying a home. Right? If you talk to your friends about it, they'll say, well, I do have an asset, I have my home. Wrong. Your house, your home is not an asset. It's a liability. How do you know? Just simply look at your bank account. When you see house in your bank statement every month, is money coming in or is money going out? I know vast majority of the time the money is going out. It's a liability. It's costing you money. You need to maintain it. You've got to pay the mortgage each month. You have to kit it out. All of the different things within it, like washing machines, dishwashers, fridges, all of them will need to be replaced at some point. It costs a fortune. Not to mention the interest that you're paying. Right? So whatever, generally speaking, you pay for a house, let's say it's 500,000, you're generally going to spend another 500,000 on interest over the lifetime of that mortgage. It is a huge cost. The biggest fallacy that people have been taught by banks is that they're buying an asset, when in fact they're spending money on a liability. Your house is an asset if you're renting out rooms in the house. Right? I'm not suggesting that you suddenly rent out rooms to your children. I mean, you could if you wish, but then you have an asset. But you could go onto Airbnb and rent out a spare room in the house or 2 spare rooms in the house, bring in a couple of extra $1,000 a month that covers the mortgage. Now that home that you're in is suddenly an asset. And it's suddenly an asset. So you can take a liability and turn it into an asset in some cases, which is a very smart move. Right? But just like a car sometimes people think is an asset. It's clearly a liability. It costs you money every single month to maintain, to drive around, unless you decide that you're going to become an Uber driver. Now you've certainly purchased an asset. Right? Now you can actually purchase it through a company. It no longer needs to be coming out of your personal money. You don't need to pay your car loan out of your personal money. It can be set up in a way that it doesn't come out after tax. It comes out from your business, and it's an expense of your business. So what other things could you do? So maybe you say, well, Paul, I can't afford a house right now, so that's not a problem I have. The car that I have is only worth about £500 or $500. It doesn't really fit in, as far as I'm concerned, into one of these categories. I can't certainly become an Uber driver with the car that I have. Well, one of the other things that you can start putting money into immediately, that Warren Buffett says is the most important investment you can ever make, is yourself and educating yourself. That's the number one asset that you can invest in. Because when you invest in yourself, that's what enables you to ask the right questions. That's what gives you the awareness to know what the problem is. Right? Most of us actually have the answers inside of us for a lot of problems that we face on a day-to-day life. We just don't know what questions to ask. But it's through the education process, that is what allows you to learn things just like the basics we're talking about here between assets and liabilities, understanding the difference. And the more money that you start putting away from liabilities, pushing away from liabilities and into assets, starting with your education, the faster that you're going to become a master of money. And the better that you manage your money, the more money that you're going to be given to manage. So on a day-to-day basis, what does that mean? What can you do right now to start channeling more money from liabilities into assets? Well, simply put, it brings me to the second part that I said we'd discuss, is when you're making a decision to purchase something, ask yourself, is this something I need or is this just something I want? More often than not, it's something you want. Okay, well, I want this now. I'd prefer not to wait. I want this. Ask yourself the question, a month from now, will I be happy that I purchased this? Right, do I really need this? Could I get away without this? Could I actually start taking some of this money and allot it into my savings and investing? Because the vast majority of things that we do spend money on a day-to-day basis, like I said, coffees and teas and all these kind of things, we could definitely save money there. Now, I'm not suggesting that we go around living this kind of frugal lifestyle and just, no more fun, life ends here. There's absolutely no need for that. It's more about an awareness and asking simple questions of yourself. Do I need this? Do I want this? Will I need this 30 days from now? No? Okay, well then let's hold off on this. Is this a clear yes? I absolutely must purchase this. Right? I need it, I want it, then that's fine. But if there's a hesitation and there's like, maybe I don't. Maybe I could just hold off on this. Let's come back to this in 48 hours and make this decision again. That's when, in most cases, you're going to decide, you know what, actually, I don't want this anymore. I don't need it. And then you're going to start the process of not wasting as much money in liabilities and freeing up more to move into your assets. Okay, so I know we've covered a lot in a short period of time here, when you're talking about I never have enough money. So understand that it's not a source problem. It's not the lack of money coming in. It's what you're doing with that money that's going out. Right now, you're wired to spend it. You're wired to spend it in line with your highest values. Most people aren't even aware of this. So no matter how much comes in, it's going to continue to go out. So we need to stop the hemorrhage of money. We need to do an assessment on where it's going, what specific area of the 8 is it going out in, and then focusing on how can I start moving money right now from what I just spend all the time in liabilities and move it into assets. The first question around that is, when you start spending money, do I need this or do I want it? Is it a clear yes or no? Let's wait for 48 hours and see what I think then. Now, if you know that somebody can benefit from this right now in your life, feel free to tag them in, feel free to share the video, and feel free to like, and I'd love also to read your comments. And I'll see you very, very soon.